The galaxy had long forgotten the edge of the Vera expanse, a stretch of star systems where even the most desperate traders avoided. It was a place where law was an idea and survival was a rule carved in plasma and steel. Eli Mercer knew this well. For over a decade, he had flown the freighter Nomad's way, hauling rare ores and occasionally smuggling critical supplies between fringe colonies. Humans were considered minor players in most sectors, but that was exactly why Eli survived. No one expected humans to act boldly. The distress call arrived in the form of a fragmented quantum beacon, distorted by light years of interference. It wasn't human, though its encoding was deliberate, almost pleading. Eli had learned to trust signals that sounded desperate. They usually meant someone had no one else to rely on. As he adjusted the frequency, the message became clear. Help her. She is dying. You are the only one who can save her. Eli's stomach tightened. Humans weren't telepaths. Humans didn't receive psychic cries for help. At least, not usually. Yet something in the signal tugged at his mind, insistent and raw. The source of the call was a derelict research station orbiting a dying star in a collapsed system. The station was barely intact, with portions of its hull fractured and floating freely into the void. As Eli piloted Nomad's way through the wreckage, he noticed movement inside, barely perceptible but unmistakable. A figure lay in the central hub, limbs frail and body slumped, a faint shimmer of alien skin visible even through the cracked walls. The girl was unconscious, her species unknown at first glance, though her physical features, elongated limbs, silver-blue skin, and iridescent hair, marked her as non-human. She had been abandoned, left to die. And now she was waiting for him. Eli docked carefully, bracing as the station shifted under its own weakened gravity fields. He suited up, each movement deliberate, and entered the wrecked hub. His eyes adjusted to the dim light, and he found her lying on a metal gurney, her chest barely rising with each breath. No one else was there. No one had come. And in that silence, Eli realized something profound. She was entirely alone, and if he did nothing, she would die. Her name, he later learned, was Nysera. She was a student of xenopsychic engineering, part of a species called the Lyra-T, known for their advanced understanding of psionics and energy manipulation. Her presence on the station was no accident. She had been working on a project that could alter energy flow on a planetary scale. The experiment had gone wrong, drawing the attention of predatory factions who had destroyed her research and left her for dead. Eli did not care about politics or the implications of interstellar energy manipulation. He only cared about one thing: saving her. The problem was immediate. The station's environmental systems were failing, and Nysera's vitals were critical. Eli worked fast, patching oxygen conduits, stabilizing energy fields, and rigging a temporary life support system from scavenged parts. His hands moved almost automatically, a combination of human ingenuity, years of experience, and the raw necessity of survival. But time was not on their side. Hours passed. Nysera's eyes remained closed, and Eli spoke to her constantly, hoping somehow she could hear him, hoping somehow that human presence alone could anchor her to life. "Hang on," he whispered. "I've got you. You're not going to die here. Not today." Then, as the station creaked and groaned under its own failing structure, the first wave of attackers arrived. Pirates, mercenaries, or rogue factions. He didn't know and he didn't care. They came for the girl, for her knowledge, for the promise of power. Eli was ready, armed only with a plasma cutter and his own ingenuity. He faced them head-on. The first intruder moved through the corridor, expecting a trapped human to hide or surrender. They underestimated him. Eli rigged a short-circuit trap, sending an electric surge across the hull plating, stunning 2 attackers at once. He fought strategically, using the debris-filled corridors and damaged systems to his advantage. All the while, Nysera's presence seemed to grow stronger. Eli could feel it, not in a psychic sense but in a human way. Her survival depended entirely on his actions. Every choice mattered. Every second counted. At last, Eli reached her side again. Nysera's eyes fluttered open, and for the first time they met his. "I thought I was dying," she sent, not in words but in a profound mental image that struck him like a shockwave. "But you refused to let me go." Humans weren't supposed to be able to perceive such thoughts. And yet, in that moment, Eli understood. His determination, his refusal to surrender, had bridged a gap no technology could span. "Not going to happen," he said simply, touching her hand. "You're alive. We're getting out of here." Together, they navigated the final corridors of the station. Eli's knowledge of structural weaknesses allowed them to evade collapsing floors and debris fields, while Nysera's emerging psionic abilities subtly augmented their escape. She could manipulate small energy fields, reinforcing doors just long enough for them to pass. It was slow, delicate work, but it worked. When they reached Eli's ship, the last intruder appeared, a hulking mercenary with layered armor and twin energy rifles. Eli had no weapon capable of stopping him outright. But he did have one advantage. Nysera. In a sudden surge, she directed her psionic energy toward the attacker. The effect was stunning, literally. Energy arcs forced the mercenary backward, and he crashed into the station wall, unconscious. Eli blinked, realizing that the girl he had saved was now capable of defending herself. "Careful," he warned, guiding her toward the ship's airlock. "You're stronger than you know, but this isn't the fight yet." Once inside Nomad's way, Nysera's strength returned gradually. She leaned heavily against him, eyes wide with curiosity and gratitude. You didn't have to save me," she said finally. Eli shrugged. "Maybe I didn't. But humans, we tend to stick with things that matter. You mattered." Her lips curved into a faint smile, and for the first time, Eli felt a connection that transcended language, species, and experience. They were allies, yes, but also something more. Proof that empathy, courage, and human ingenuity could carve a path even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. In the following weeks, Eli and Nysera worked together to repair the ship and evade pursuing factions. Nysera shared her knowledge of psionic energy fields and alien engineering. Eli taught her human survival skills, improvisation, and resilience. Their partnership became legendary among the fringe colonies, a human and an alien girl navigating danger and intrigue with a combination of courage, intellect, and unwavering trust. Stories of their escape spread quickly, of a human who refused to abandon a helpless alien, who faced impossible odds and survived. Other species who had long underestimated humanity began to recognize a disturbing truth. Humans were unpredictable, audacious, and fiercely loyal. And sometimes that made them far more dangerous than any weapon or technology. Nysera often looked at Eli with awe. "You humans," she said one day, her voice melodic and thoughtful, "always seem to survive the impossible." Eli grinned. "Some of us do. Some of us just don't know any better." And as they prepared to jump into hyperspace, leaving the ruins of the Vera expanse behind, Eli understood something that humans had always known intuitively. It wasn't strength, psionics, or technology that made humans remarkable. It was their refusal to let go, their ability to fight for what mattered even when the odds were insurmountable. In a galaxy of predators, power plays, and interstellar empires, that alone could change everything. And for Nysera, it had meant life itself.